On the evening of October 4, 2024, the bustling streets of New York City bore witness to an alarming incident that would soon capture public attention and spark a dialogue about violence and safety in urban environments. Former Governor David Paterson and his stepson Anthony Sliwa found themselves embroiled in a harrowing confrontation that escalated into a brutal assault by a group of individuals, including two adults who worked for the New York City Housing Authority. This disturbing episode not only highlighted the precariousness of public safety but also raised questions about the responsibilities of adults in youth conflicts and the role of community in addressing such issues. The events unfolded on a seemingly ordinary day in the Upper East Side, an area known for its affluence and vibrancy. As the sun began to set and the city transitioned into its evening hustle, the atmosphere was charged with the sounds of laughter and chatter, the aroma of street food wafting through the air, and the vibrant life that characterizes New York City. However, beneath this lively facade, tensions simmered, setting the stage for a confrontation that would leave lasting scars on those involved. Anthony Sliwa, a 20-year-old college student and the son of Curtis Sliwa, the founder of the Guardian Angels, was walking with his stepfather David Paterson when they encountered a group of youngsters who were recklessly climbing on a fire escape. Concerned for the safety of the children and aware of the potential dangers associated with such behavior, Anthony took it upon himself to confront the group. What started as a simple act of concern quickly devolved into a conflict that would spiral out of control. Confrontation escalated rapidly. Rather than heed Anthony's warnings, the youngsters responded with hostility. They began to hurl insults and provocations, escalating the tension between them. It was clear that this was no ordinary disagreement. A mob mentality was taking shape, fueled by a sense of bravado that often accompanies youth culture. As Anthony stood his ground, defending both his perspective and that of his stepfather, the situation drew in more participants, leading to a chaotic scene that was far from the peaceful community interaction that had characterized the area moments before. Amidst the chaos, two adult men, later identified as Trevor Nurse, 40, and Diamond Minter, 34, entered the fray. These individuals, both employees of the New York City Housing Authority, chose to side with the rowdy teenagers rather than de-escalate the situation. Their involvement transformed the confrontation from a simple argument into a violent melee, with the adults exacerbating the situation by physically attacking Anthony and Paterson. In an age where one might expect adults to model restraint and guidance, these two men chose to engage in an alarming display of aggression that raised questions about their judgment and responsibilities. As the confrontation unfolded, bystanders looked on, some recording the events on their phones while others called for help. The disturbing footage, seemingly captured through a nearby McDonald's window, depicted a chilling scene. Anthony was on the ground, surrounded by several assailants who relentlessly kicked and punched him while Paterson attempted to intervene and protect his stepson. The chaotic environment underscored the urgency of the situation, with the sounds of fists meeting flesh and the cries of those involved echoing through the street. David Paterson, despite being legally blind, sought to shield Anthony from the onslaught. In a desperate attempt to protect his stepson, Paterson found himself struck by one of the youths, leading to a moment of instinctual retaliation. "I threw him into the window of McDonald's and I hit him again," Paterson recounted later, expressing his disbelief at the sudden escalation of violence. His reaction illustrated not only his protective instincts as a father figure but also the sheer desperation of individuals faced with aggression. In this moment, the former governor's actions became emblematic of a larger struggle, the instinct to protect loved ones in the face of overwhelming odds. After the initial assault, chaos reigned. Crowd grew larger, with onlookers unsure of how to respond. Many were shocked by the sheer brutality of the attack, while others engaged in a mix of fear and fascination, recording the events as they unfolded. This blend of human emotions, fear, excitement, confusion, mirrored a growing sense of societal unease about violence in urban settings. As the mob mentality took hold, it became evident that the situation had evolved far beyond a simple argument, reflecting deeper societal issues at play. As the police arrived on the scene, they were met with a chaotic scene. The officers quickly assessed the situation, attempting to restore order amidst the frenzy. Witnesses provided statements, and the injured were attended to. Anthony Sliwa, visibly shaken and battered, was given medical attention, while David Paterson faced the reality of the violence they had just endured. The arrival of law enforcement underscored the seriousness of the situation and the need for accountability. In the aftermath of the incident, Curtis Sliwa took to social media to share his thoughts on the attack. He expressed both outrage and concern for his son and Paterson, revealing the emotional toll that such violence can take on families. He is still recovering as he was violently beaten to the ground while standing his ground with Governor Paterson, who is recovering as well, Curtis wrote on X. His post painted a vivid picture of the immediate aftermath, with both men grappling with their physical injuries and the emotional scars left by the attack. Sliwa's words resonated with many who have experienced violence or witnessed similar incidents in their communities, highlighting the pervasive fear that accompanies urban life. The response from law enforcement was swift, with officers arresting Trevor Nurse and Diamond Minter, charging them with second-degree assault. The charges served as a reminder that those in positions of authority, who should ideally promote safety and security, could also contribute to the very violence they are meant to prevent. The involvement of city housing authority workers in such a brutal attack raised questions about the oversight and accountability mechanisms within the agency. How could individuals entrusted with the well-being of their communities resort to violence? This incident ignited discussions about systemic failures that allow such behaviors to persist. Additionally, 3 minors, aged 12 and 13, surrendered to authorities and faced charges in connection with the assault. Their involvement highlighted the disturbing reality of youth violence and the complexities surrounding juvenile accountability. While society often grapples with how to best address juvenile offenses, this incident pushed those conversations into the spotlight, prompting discussions about prevention, intervention, and rehabilitation for young people caught in cycles of violence. As the investigation continued, both David Paterson and Curtis Sliwa were vocal about their feelings regarding the attackers. Paterson expressed his disdain for the adults who had instigated the violence. "The adults escalated the situation," he stated emphatically, revealing his frustration with those who should have modeled appropriate behavior. "The adults can rot in hell as far as I'm concerned." His words encapsulated a broader sentiment that resonated with many who have witnessed the erosion of societal norms and values, particularly regarding how adults influence youth behavior. Curtis Sliwa, in his commentary, reflected on the broader implications of the incident. He emphasized the need for community action and the urgency of addressing the rising violence that plagued New York City. "If a former governor can't even be safe from violence, no one is safe," he warned, articulating a fear that resonated with countless families who have witnessed loved ones fall victim to violence. Sliwa's comments echoed a growing concern among residents about the safety of public spaces and the ability of individuals to navigate their neighborhoods without fear.